Hi, Grace. I absolutely loved your movie. First of all, I want to let you know that, and your performance was like one of the best performance I have seen, or like at least now, it's one of the best performances.
That's
And
very kind.
and the question that I've been dying to ask is that, what did the vulture taste like? Like, what was the preparation for that scene, and what did you actually eat?
It tasted like chicken. And I did not eat vulture because that is not something we were doing. We didn't harm, no vultures were harmed in the making of this movie. But yeah, it tasted delicious. In order to get the coloring of it, we had a sauce on it that was lovingly prepared. And it was kind of a pineapple barbecue type situation. It was delicious.
And overall also it's a very physically demanding movie, but like you have a background in ballet and you are also a superhero. So did that kind of help you in terms of learning the ropes for this movie?
Oh, absolutely. It did. I think having a foundation with ballet, and I also have done some taekwondo and kickboxing. It was really helpful to have that in my arsenal because when we shot this, it was quarantine, COVID time. I didn't have access to a gym to be able to work out. And we worked with a trainer 2 weeks right before, just really hustling, trying to get our bodies toned and ready. But thankfully, I already had a foundation of athleticism in my past.
And how did the height of the tower itself aid you in the acting process? Like, did you get it used to it, or like did you have to kind of emulate the vertigo?
That's a really interesting question because there was a point towards the end of the shoot where we were up there for days on end. I mean, Becky and Hunter are up there for a few days, but we were up there for days with breaks in between and water. But there does come a point where you're up there, and for me, I had to kind of remind myself, Grace, you're very high up. Don't get too comfortable now because it becomes your hangout spot right there with Ginny, just the two of us.
Right. So yesterday I was talking to Scott, and he said that you kind of developed a shorthand in terms of how he was directing you, because he's not always up there with you two. So what were some of the most interesting director's notes that you got during the whole shooting?
Mm. Well, a lot of preparation went into shooting on the front end with our performances. Scott rehearsed with us since he was going to be so far away, talking to us through a bullhorn. Um, and if anything, at the start of the day before we got up on the tower, Scott would kind of discuss, this is what we're shooting today. And if I had any ideas, I'd bring them to him. But ultimately, we were really holding Becky in a protective place of not wanting her to come off too whiny. And we didn't want her to be annoying. We wanted her to be sympathetic because I feel sympathetic towards her. But she is being put in situations that she's scared of and she doesn't want to do. So Scott and I, if we're talking about a shorthand, I think we were constantly keeping an eye on the scale of how scared to make Becky, and how brave to make Becky. So we were kind of keeping track of that, you and I.
And it also looks like a very mentally taxing role as well. So how did you and Virginia kind of ensure that you were always in the right mind space for every scene?
Stopping at Starbucks right before before the day started and getting some coffee. We had a lot of caffeine through that shoot because the heat really exhausts you. I worked on Shazam in the winter, and the winter keeps you on edge. When you're freezing, you're on edge, and it's a little helpful to keep your energy up. But when you're in such extreme heats, right, it just fatigues you. Then on top of that, we're doing these intense stunts. It's like working out in the gym. I mean, and then a crying scene in the afternoon, and I'm not crying one time, I'm crying 10 times because we have so many different takes to get. And the scene after that, I'm crying as well. So I think the biggest thing was Ginny and I there was a commitment and a resolve of grit, I think, between the two of us to be, to push through against all odds. And we did look at each other early on in the shoot. And I said, there's a lot that we could complain about with set because it's crazy. And I'm not going to complain. And she said, me neither. And we're like, okay, we got this. And it was this like team bond of, we're going to get in there and we're going to do our job.
And it's like, I have watched a lot of survival films like this, and it becomes very easy for the audience member to say like, okay, I won't do that, or I won't get into that. So while reading the script, were there any moments like, okay, I won't do that? Or did you kind of empathize with, like, or understand like what they are doing?
I actually can't think of a moment like that. I think these girls are so resourceful. And they really are doing the best they can considering the circumstances. And I rewatched it recently, and I was kind of looking at it through that lens of, do I buy everything that we're up against and how we respond in the different moments? And truth be told, I think the decisions made are reflectant of being in that fight or flight state, or having no resources and just trying to do whatever you can. So no, I support my character's actions quite a bit.
And has this in any way motivated you to do like more stunt heavy roles like this, or are you like, I'm done?
After I wrapped, I was pretty exhausted and felt like I needed a little bit of a vacation. Funny enough, and also just all the bug infestations and storms and things that we experienced, it was pretty insane. But now that enough time has passed, I've forgotten what those feelings of how insane it was. I've forgotten them. So now I want to do it again because I don't remember how rough it was.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. And my final question to you is that, like, what is the one thought or opinion that you want audiences to walk away with about the movie, or like about your character?
I hope people walk away with a sense of hope, and a sense of, wow, the human spirit can endure so much, and how much can I endure, right? And what am I made of? How much would I be capable of? I hope people feel inspired and believe in themselves more, in their capability.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Again, I want to reiterate that I really, really love the film and your performance as well. And I wish you the best for it.
Oh, thank you.